China says it is keeping close contact with UN Security Council members regarding denuclearization on the Korean Peninsula. China and Russia submitted a draft resolution to the Council as discussions are scheduled for Tuesday on easing sanctions on the DPRK.
To maintain peace and stability, to solve problems through dialogue and consultation, to build a permanent peace mechanism on the peninsula, and achieve denuclearization there are the starting points for China and Russia to push forward this draft resolution. China and Russia propose to adjust part of the sanctions against the DPRK to meet humanitarian needs and to support the dialogue process. China is currently maintaining communication with the members of the UN Security Council and relevant parties on draft resolution's content. China hopes that the UN Security Council members take responsibility on the peninsula issue, take active actions to support political settlement, encourage dialogue and consultation, and maintain peace and stability on the peninsula.
Well, Turkey had a major presence in Syria in 2019. It launched a major offensive into the Kurdish-held territory in northern Syria in October. Ankara said the operation was aimed at fighting terrorism and establishing a safe zone for the return of Syrian refugees living in Turkey. The offensive will, however, continue to have implications for the region well into 2020, especially in regards to anti-terror efforts in and around Syria. CGTN's Mahal Bardavit has more.
On October 9th, Turkey launched a cross-border operation into northern Syria against the Syrian Kurdish YPG, which Turkey considers a terrorist organization. The aim, to clear a border area 400 kilometers wide of the YPG and establish a safe zone in the area where Syrian refugees can be resettled. Heavy fighting between the Turkish military and the YPG took place in border towns inside Syria. Both sides suffered losses. Thousands of refugees fled the region. When the fighting began, the U.S. decided to pull out, leaving their Kurdish allies, the YPG, without protection. The YPG then called on the Syrian government for support. The Syrian army quickly arrived, filling in the gap created by the U.S. withdrawal, and advanced into areas it hadn't controlled since 2012. Potentially a major implication for the Syrian conflict. Turkey then signed deals with Russia and the United States, who committed to the withdrawal of the YPG from an area 120 kilometers wide and 30 kilometers deep.
Turkey managed to sign agreements with Russia and US, deals that included Ankara's own goals within the 10-day period. This is a huge diplomatic success. However, when we take a look at the implementation of the agreements on the ground, the success is somewhat broken.
What initially seemed like a victory for Ankara did not work out, as Erdogan has expressed concerns that the YPG did not fully withdraw from the area. In October, when the White House announced its withdrawal from Syria, they also declared Turkey would become responsible of all the ISIL prisoners in the region, a key role Ankara is now dealing with. Following the Operation Peace Spring offensive, Ankara began repatriating ISIL prisoners. In December, the Turkish Interior Ministry stated over 70 foreign ISIL members have returned to their countries of origin. These include Germany, France, Australia, the UK, and the United States. More than 1,100 suspected ISIL members remain in Turkey. On December 18th, Turkish police arrested 13 ISIL suspects who allegedly planned to carry out attacks on New Year's Day. Turkey's fight with ISIL is certainly one that will dominate its agenda in 2020 as well. Meanwhile, Erdogan remains committed to establishing a safe zone and believes over 1 million refugees can be resettled.
We want these areas to be safe. Let's clear these areas of terrorist presence once and for all. Let's declare these areas a safe zone. Let's implement the resettlement and housing projects altogether. Let's have hospitals. Let's have schools there. And let the refugees go back to their motherland peacefully and in a dignified fashion. But nobody seems to be inclined to help us.
Another region where Turkey's recent political moves may have larger implications is Libya. In November, Erdogan signed a maritime boundary agreement and a military deal with the UN-backed Libyan Government of National Accord. Erdogan also later emphasized that Turkey was ready to send troops to Libya as well, a move that could certainly complicate the ongoing fighting inside Libya. It could also negatively impact Ankara's relations with Moscow, as Russia is backing the Libyan National Army. This is a conflict Erdogan wants to avoid and will discuss with Russian President Vladimir Putin when he visits Istanbul on January 8th to launch the Turkish Stream project. But ties with Russia are crucial for Turkey on several levels. In 2019, Ankara also went ahead with its purchase of a Russian S-400 missile defense system, despite threats of sanctions by the US. Turkey is also facing potential sanctions from the EU due to its gas exploration activities inside the Mediterranean Sea. Ankara wants to maintain a strategic role in the region. In Syria, its control of ISIL prisoners, activities in the Mediterranean Sea, and now Libya. It seems Turkey will be high on the global agenda in 2020 as well. Michal Bardavid, CGTN, Istanbul.